Time for 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is Tuesday, which means it is time for the John and Wayne show with the stud next to me, Wayne Breezy. It's Tuesday. We got the most important week of the entire offseason upon us. How are you feeling, my friend?
It's amazing because it's almost free agency time. And we just get to see all the stuff that's going down in the league because I don't expect the 49ers to be able to do much. But that's why we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about this salary cap.
Yeah, this is a weird time because we all want to focus on the draft, and that's what I'm predominantly spending most of my time on, just finishing up this draft book, which we're putting out 2 versions of, which I'm really excited about. But before the draft, you got free agency, which I got to hand it to the NFL. They don't stop creating content. It's just there.
It's
And
the
you and I
greatest
are thankful
business in the world, John. Like, I was sitting here having this conversation, and we were like trying to do sports, as far as like how much money was spent. Because I think I was last night. I was at a gig, and a dude was like, "Yo, about the NBA, like maybe they should do like a plan type of tournament, like the big tournament for the NCAA, so that way guys don't take off and do that load management stuff." And I was like, yeah, but the NBA will lose a lot of money because they make a killing around playoff time. That's when they make all their money. He was like, no, everybody should just play one game. They're out. And then, you know what I'm saying? It comes down to 7 games for the series. And I was like, dude, first of all, they'll never catch up to the NFL. So if it, the NFL is a certain way. It's built like a certain, Megatron. That's what I like to call the NFL. It's the Megatron of sports. If you guys watch Transformers, but the way that it's set up, bro, it's like it's a clock. It's clockwork. There's never-ending stories. I mean, you got personal stories with the Joe Mixon situation going. I'm like, what in the hell is going on now? It's just stories.
just never stops, man.
Plenty of
Like,
content.
I reminded the 49ers are up, I think it was like 35-7 on the Tampa Bay Bucks. And it's in the fourth quarter with a minute left. Tom Brady, Mike Evans, still out there. Like, imagine that in the NFL or in the NBA, right? They pull everybody. It's just a different animal. It doesn't fit the same way. And NFL is going to stay king. It's just what it is because every single play, every single game matters because you only have such a finite amount. NBA playing 82. It's what it is. Now, what's up, Jacqueline? Love all the hashtag CCs, the countdown crew coming in strong. We got to do a giveaway soon. I don't have anything planned, but I was checking out guess what? I missed this. This is the 801st show. I didn't do a giveaway. Yesterday was episode 800. I didn't even know.
Wow.
I missed it. 801 of the 49ers Rush podcast. Get your hashtag CCs in. Tomorrow I'll announce a giveaway. I've got all these jerseys next to me. I'm not sure what I could give away and what I can't. So I'll announce that. Get your hashtag CCs. I'll announce a giveaway on Twitter, Patreon, all that stuff, and we'll get that later on in this week. A lot of stuff going on this week. Now, here's my question to you, Wayne, as we talk about how big this week is.
Cool.
Brock Purdy's surgery is finally scheduled for Friday.
Thank you.
And we're getting all these questions. I'm getting Tom Brady questions. I'm getting Phillip Rivers questions. I'm getting, should we do this? Should we do that? Should we do this? We don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't know until Friday. Now, let's just set the timetable. If everything goes great, which is a big if, 24 weeks or 6 months, 6 times 4, 24. Look at that. August 25th would be the exact 6-month time frame from the Friday surgery. Season opener is that Thursday, September 10th. That is best case scenario. So my question to you is this, Wayne. What are your thoughts on this Purdy surgery? How does it make you feel about free agency, the draft? What kind of swirling on in your head just in regards to Brock? And I don't care about the Brock trade debate. Don't care about that. We can't even have that debate till after the surgery. But what's kind of your mindset just with like, man, what can we take away from this on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping and praying for those out there that like to pray. Like we're hoping and praying that everything goes according to plan. Here's the issue with Brock Purdy. What kind of makes me a little bit more nervous than others is the fact that the swelling continued to be there for such a long period of time. And so, like, does that mean that I'm sure there's no swelling now because he's scheduled to have the surgery. So obviously the swelling had to go down. But when they open up the elbow, it may not look as what they thought it may have looked. So that's why there was always two options. And so it might actually be the other option when they open it up. Now, if they do that, then we have to start talking about possibly are they going to give Tom Brady a call, all this type of stuff, whatever, which I still feel like why not just go with Trey Lance? I don't understand what the problem is unless he's not healthy. But we won't know anything, John, until Friday. Honestly, we can't fully assess the situation until the doctors say, hey, it's what is it, a slight tear and it's going to be repaired and we're good to go, opposed to having to be reconstructed and rebuilt in Tommy John surgery. So we really don't know, bro.
And I've said this countless times that I trust the 49ers with a lot of information that they let out. Injuries is not until way down the line. Like if they have to do a Tommy John replacement, which I don't think they will, I might be one of the few ones here that I don't think that's going to be the case. Here's what's going to happen. Surgery's going to happen. Surgery went as expected. We're really excited to get moving forward and all positive steps. And we're excited for this to attack this rehab phase. Like I think that's going to be the press. Like it's what it's going to be. We're not going to know until that 3 month until we get that he's throwing the ball, because it takes 3 months of rehab. And then 3 months, you can start throwing a tennis ball or whatever. Then you work your way up to, a baseball, softball, football, all that kind of stuff. So at 3 months, that's when it starts. So part of me is scared just from our perspective, Wayne. I want to say Friday, we're going to know more. But the kind of evil, darkness on my shoulder says, we're going to get some word salad from the 49ers and from Brock Purdy's camp.
But why?
I might not even know then.
But why not just ease the mindset? Well, they don't have to, I guess. That's
well, we didn't know about Trey's second surgery until after it happened. You
Correct.
know what I mean? Like, and they said afterwards, oh, well, we knew this was a strong possibility. They didn't tell us. Nobody knew that. For the 49ers leak all this information crowd, it's like not one person knew. One person knew that there was a possibility of a second surgery till after the fact.
I guess I'm just the opposite to what you're thinking, because I'm more like the 49ers do know what the hell is going on, and they're not like letting, they're trying to keep the poker face on, but it might be worse than what we think. And so possible. I know no one thinks that Tommy John surgery thing is possible, but it's possible. It's possible that it's worse than what it was. Let me just explain again. I'm not a doctor. Not any of that. I don't have an MD or a PhD. I just majored in psych. So mentally, I can kind of like break some stuff down. But let me just explain the injury one more time. This was a contact injury. This is not a normal wear and tear, pitching, throwing all the goddamn time since I was 2 type of an injury. This actually happened through force, and it was bent. And so I'm wondering if that makes it a little bit worse than a regular UCL, like that happens from wear and tear.
See, I'm the opposite of you there.
It's so
because the tendon, like the Tommy John thing, is that over pronation whenever you're doing those curveballs and whatever in the elbow. It's so like you have to replace the tendon because it's worn out.
It's worn out.
42. I'm 40 years old. I'm worn out. When I cough, my back pops. I don't know why. That's not normal. I'm worn out.
Correct.
He's not worn out. Like because it's a force, that makes me think the tendon could be repaired because it's probably in good condition. But again, speculation.
But it depends on how bad it was torn, and they don't know until they go in. See what I'm saying? So like you're right. Listen, I agree with that. It's wear and tear, and he hasn't worn and torn it, right? But what if it was ripped so bad through the Force? And no, we're not talking Jedi and Star Wars and all that stuff, but what if the Force ripped it so bad that it has to be reconstructed? So we're hoping that that's not the case. Okay,
Right.
we're
Look
hoping.
at Gregus. This is another thing. Like it's, I think another issue is like we think it's 6 or 12 months. There's a 9-month in there too. The hybrid, right?
Oh,
6
okay.
repair, 9 hybrid,
Nine,
12 replace.
there it is. I forgot about the
But
hybrid.
for the 49ers, all intents and purposes, 9-month and 12-month don't really matter for this year. Maybe he could come back in the playoffs or something along those lines. But
the other thing that we don't factor in is how is he going to return after he comes back from this? I mean, throwing a tennis ball, throwing a football, and then getting out there and doing it for real is two different things. And so, like, then there's a mental aspect. There's the psychology part that needs to come in there. Like, can he get over the hump? What if he doesn't come back the same? What if he doesn't have the same pop or the same zip in his throw? Like, it's a lot.
I'll say this, though, Wayne. You and I, we are children of the 90s, and we watched the movie Rookie Year with Rowan Gardner. Right? Come on, man.
Crazy watching him as a grown man right now, though. Like, this. No, that was the greatest injury movie I've ever seen in my entire life. And boy, he was throwing until it popped back in. He was amazing. Now listen, here's this. Prayers up to Brock. I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. I'm praying that everything goes well. I'm hoping he'll be back between the 3 to 6 months and not the hybrid, not the 9 months, and not the full Tommy John at 12 months. We're hoping it's the 3 to 6 month recovery. He's a strong kid. He's a young kid, and he's gonna be back stronger than ever.
I like it. I like it. Now, that's number 1 on the 49ers weekly agenda. That's number 1. Number 2, starting next Monday, it opens up the free agency open tampering period is what it's called, where basically you can talk to whomever you want, but you can't finalize deals yet, which is kind of a weird thing, but whatever. And then Wednesday is the actual start of free agency, which brings us to our next topic. Let's talk about this cap adjustments, the NFL official number. So let's just put a perspective in what this means, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there currently with the cap. Okay. Wayne, the cap for every NFL team is $224.8 million, right? $224.8 million. However, the NFL does what's an adjusted cap situation. Fill us in on where the Niners are with that, and then we'll kind of break that down.
Yeah, so like the Niners got what, 237.5 million, almost 238 million. So
just like my account, that's my budget for this show.
So the Niners are allotted to spend about $13 million more than the rest of the teams in the NFL. And so when we're looking at this, we're saying, like, listen, we don't have that much money. We still got to pay those the contracts, the top 51, all that stuff still has to get allotted and paid for. So if you want to know about cap space, difference between that cap number that we're talking about, the cap space, we're sitting about around 8 million. So we'll have about 8 million to spend. But here's the cool thing. The fact that the NFL adjusted and gave us an extra 13 million, guess what? We're going to get a player kind of like for free this year. John, would you like to talk about who that player is going to be?
Right. And so the reason why the Niners get this extra money is because players didn't hit their likely to be earned, the LTBE incentives. A lot of that's Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Because if he would have not been injured, then he would have kept getting that money. We would not be getting as much of this back. So about 5 to 6 million of this is just Jimmy Garoppolo getting injured, didn't hit his bonuses, whatever else.
And but Debo, a little bit Debo too as well.
Correct. But that 13 million cap space, that just means the Niners can spend 13 more. Doesn't mean they have $13 million more cap space currently. Just means that they're allowed to spend more than other teams. Literally 13 million. What you said, if you look at the salary cap this year, it's basically the 49ers get a free Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. Because his salary cap
have $1 million to spend.
And still have $1 million to spend.
Yeah.
Because again, we're getting an extra $13 million just on this year to spend more than the average NFL team. In fact, the 49ers have the 3rd highest adjusted cap rate, meaning we are able to pay the 3rd highest of everybody else because of what didn't happen last year. So
that's why I like incentive-based contracts. A, it helps the team out in multiple ways, and B, it makes the player have to go out there and kind of like do some things too, and when players sign these type of contracts, and the majority of them kind of do, especially in San Francisco, like when they sign these type of contracts, they're like, hey man, I'll bet on myself, 3 years, and this 3-year contract, like Debo has incentives that he needs to make, and there's times where he can't make them. He dealt with injuries last year, so he didn't make certain incentives. But I like the fact that players are willing to bet on themselves and get paid in the contract at the same time. So it's like, all right, cool, I can get paid this money, but I can get paid more if I reach this goal. Sign me up for the Christian Jubilee. Like, I'm all down. I like these contracts, but in the end, it really benefits the team. So there's a way that it can not necessarily hurt the team because the team is willing to pay incentives. But if players don't reach their goals, John, man, that money gets kicked back. We call it the kickback. That money gets kicked back. And now the Niners get a little bit more money adjusted to their cap space.
It's a win-win. I'm a proponent of fully guaranteed contracts, very similar to baseball. These guys, their lives are never the same afterwards, but it's not going to happen in the NFL. The owners have just too much power in this league, sadly. But the 49ers want players to bet on themselves. Parag, he's as good as anybody in the NFL. I want people to get paid. And whenever I see those incentives and I see people betting on themselves, I get it. I would do the same thing. Literally what you and I are doing now. Like we walked away from guaranteed money to bet on ourselves because we care about what we're doing and want this to be a part of our lifestyle. And the 49ers players the same way.
Correct.
They bet on themselves. And to get that far, you kind of got to do what you got to do. So I think that's interesting. Now, we got a couple questions here. Let's transition to 49ers free agency.
Ooh.
This guy asked this: who's the high-profile safety rumored that we are trying to get? And there's one name and one name only at the top of that list, and that is Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. I just don't think that there's a way Cincinnati can keep him. It's basically him or T. Higgins, and they are going T. Higgins. So the safety is going to walk. He's an absolute stud. What are your thoughts on him? And you think the 49ers should pursue this?
It's gonna cost, right? So he's the number one safety out there on the free agent market, guys. So that means he'll be paid the highest. There's a possibility of bringing Jimmy Ward back. I know a lot of people, some fans like that. Some fans feel like, no, it's time to move on. So forth. But listen, Jesse Bates would be the best safety out there on the market. It makes sense that they're looking to target a secondary player. I wonder why. Steve Wilks, just make the connection. As far as him coaching secondary, it's just kind of like his strength. It's kind of like what he does. So why not get the best player at this position? And for the first
player by a considerable margin.
By a considerable margin. And so that means so with him being the best by a considerable margin, you're going to have to pay the best. So I just want y'all to know that. Like, if he's the best, y'all going to have to pay for it. And he's probably going to cost you about...
Spotrax got it at $14 million projected.
I think he's going to get a little bit higher than that, dog. Like,
he's 20. He just turned 26 2 weeks ago.
I'm talking 17. He might top it at the 17, $18 million a year. Somebody's going to pay him that. That's, to me, where the 49ers may come in at 14 million. 15 million, maybe max, but then here comes a different team with more money, and he's gonna play for a contract. Unfortunately, he's young and he's gonna get that contract. So
I want you to throw this in the chat, guys. I want to hear your answer. Yes, on Bates, you're fine giving that money to a safety. You'd have the best safety tandem in the NFL with Hufanga and Bates for years to come.
26.
He's 26. Is that something that you want to do? It's going to cost you. And so basically you're saying we're not going to sign McGlinchey. We're going to bring in Bates instead. Let's see. So throw this in there. Yes or no? Too expensive? Yes. I want the best safety tandem in the NFL. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, Maria Garcia, what is up? She is the absolute best. We got to hang out with her in Santa Clara both times, her and her eye candy that she brought with her. She says, woot, woot. Finally catching a live show with you and Wade. Hope all is well. It's great, Maria. One of the best humans you will ever meet. She's incredible.
Maria.
Thank you. She a partier too, man. First time I met her, she showed up with a big old bottle of Patron.
Oh, I know.
People right there, man. Those are my people. Now, right here, I think the value would be C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
So
I don't
this
think he's walking out of that building.
So this,
Like,
but this is who I want. This is where I would go, mainly for again for his versatility, his safety play, his nickelback play. If you're trying to replace a Jimmy Ward, this is the guy that you want. You want the younger guy in here, a guy that gives you zero problems at playing it, a guy that can cover, and a guy that's going to hit you. But what John said was, there's no way that they're going to let him out. But here's the
I
thing:
don't think
they
so either.
might not have money to pay him if they're working on a deal for their quarterback. And so I'm not sure how many players the Philadelphia Eagles, I was about to say the Flyers, are going to be able to keep, but I guarantee he's going to be on top of their dock. And there's a possibility that they franchise tag him by tomorrow. So just pay attention to what's going on out there.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. The Eagles DB coach was Denard Wilson, who was a finalist for that DC job. They chose not to go with him and they hired outside. And the DB coach said, peace. And he's the one that CJ Gardner-Johnson has credited with finally helping him get over the hump. And so who knows? With the way they're going, they've lost their defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, number 2 defensive coach. We'll see what that looks like. But yeah, CJ Gardner-Johnson's going to get paid. There's no doubt about it.
That's my 1 and 2 though, Johnson. Like it's 1, it's 2, and then Jimmy Ward will probably be the third paid best safety remaining on that list, if you took it, and then you're starting to tear yourselves down a little bit, because Von Bell is there too from Cincy, and so that's probably the player they'll bring back. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. Free agency is gonna be crazy.
And I'll say this, these two players are completely different. Bates is way more consistent and does not give up big plays at all. No. Charlie Gardner-Johnson is a mad dog, trash talking, playmaking safety that does get beat and get a lot of penalties, but he is balls to the wall crazy.
He's just energetic. He's the Wayne Breezy of safeties. You know? He's coming in with he's coming in like a missile. It's almost like having Deshaun Goldson back, pretty much.
Yeah, it would be crazy. And that's a reason why I like Bates is I want the yin and the yang, right?
Yes, sir.
I want the huff to be crazy.
Yes.
And I want the blanket over the top.
Yes.
You get 2 crazies.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it could be fun. It'd be more fun. It'd be more fun.
Penalties.
Be a lot more penalties, man. It'd be a lot more penalties, but also interceptions. I mean, Charlie Gardner-Johnson was up by like 3 interceptions on the league before he got injured. He makes some damn good plays. He does make plays.
He's a playmaking safety. Like that's what he is. But he's been that way. He was a risk taker in New Orleans, and he's just that guy. But I would love to see his young dogness on this defense. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it would be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. Big Papa says, man, the 49ers don't usually get started in free agency until the second day at the earliest. We're out of the splash big time movers early on.
Correct.
Because we built through the draft. If you go back to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's first year or two, man, we were signing everybody. But now your big signings are already on the roster: Debo, Kittle, Warner, Bosa, all that stuff. So I am with you there, but I do expect 1 or 2 big signings, very similar to what we did with Charvarius Ward. But I don't think it's going to be early on. I don't see that. And one of the, I keep seeing this in the chat. Josh, what's up, man? 49ers faithful forever. He says, Cleveland Farrell coming here on the cheap. I do think that Raiders pipeline of defensive linemen just continues. Arden Key, we got him on the cheap. Maurice Hurst, we got him on the cheap.
Yeah.
Cleveland Farrell, I was pretty high on him. He didn't really pan out.
So I think a lot of us were from Clemson, right? And it was just like, he ended up going to the Raiders and kind of like falling by the wayside. But here, and I wouldn't mind. I mean, you're coming into a Chris Kosaric defense. I wouldn't be surprised if they go after like talent that was scouted really high that they just couldn't draft at that time. And so look for that in free agency. And here's another thing. I know you guys. I agree with Big Papa. We don't really address free agency until the second day, and I think the reason why is because they're looking for the perfect fit. And so there were some cornerbacks that I thought were going to be signed. We knew that the 49ers were going to sign a cornerback. We knew that. The question was, which one was it? Was it going to be JC Jackson? Was it going to be Stephon Gilmore? And then they went and pulled an okey doke and got the perfect fit in Mooney
Perfect.
Ward. Someone none of us, maybe one person, I don't know, were really kind of like scouting to the Niners because we were looking for that, that top tier cornerback. Well, here, when they went and got him, they made sure that they got the best man coverage, defender, a person that locks a person down one-on-one and man coverage so they could run man zone concepts out there on defense. And he played it well. He didn't decline a little bit until Emmanuel Mosley got hurt. And then we had to kind of like overcompensate for Deommodore Lenoir, who ended up finishing the year, to me, like tremendous. And I think he's only going to grow and rise.
I like that. I like that a lot. And, we're getting some good, kind of comments that are coming through. Sticking with safeties, Thornhill or Peppers would be good options as well.
I wanted Thornhill too, John, in the draft.
I was big on him, man, out of Virginia. He was fun. He was
Everybody knows how I feel about Peppers. So,
he's one of your boys.
Yeah, of course, Jabril. I look, why not? I thought we was going to bring him in last year. So he only signed a 1-year deal?
I think it was 2 years, maybe. But yeah, he was in the OBJ trade. You remember?
Yes.
Yeah, way back in the day. Oh. Yeah, I like him. I'd want a little more consistent, but he's a splash upside, high athletic.
He's just athletic. He's a versatile guy, return guy, can be a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Albert has this question. What about Jason Kelce? Is there a possibility to bring him? Absolutely not. No, like I would. I think retirement's probably a bigger option, but he's a mainstay in Philly, and he's not. At this point, he's going to get whatever. He was the best center. I would argue you could make the argument maybe one of the best years the center has had in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
He was incredible, man. Yeah, I don't think there's any way you could offer him $30 million a year. He probably still wouldn't come.
I'm hoping that he retires, but if he doesn't retire, expect him to re-sign in Philly.
Yeah, sticking with this trade question, Logan says, would you guys trade for Chase Young? Yes, but I also would go on a date with Scarlett Johansson. However, I don't think either one of those are on the realm of possibilities. To get Chase Young, you're talking multiple firsts minimum. Yeah. You don't even have a first-round pick this year. You don't even have a second-round pick this year. You don't even have your original third-round pick this year. So you would have to – I don't know. I don't see any possibility whatsoever for that coming to fruition. But, yeah, I would. But, you'd call and say, hey, what would it take to get Chase Young? My guess is 2 firsts and Debo or something like that. And it's just like, nah, thanks. That's why trades like that don't happen too often.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I would like to see that dynamic duo, that's just not going to happen. Would I do it? Absolutely. I mean, I think anybody would, but you would have to give up so much, like John said. Yep. And personally, I wouldn't even look into trades, guys. Like, honestly, pay attention to these cap casualties. There's going to be a lot of other players that are going to be let go.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, guys.
Yeah, gone.
I mean,
Bud Dupree.
I mean, so there's some, and they're expensive, but maybe, possibly, we were talking earlier about the 1-year incentive-based type deals. Those guys, I mean, Khalil Mack has 0 chips.
0.
And he's getting
older.
Hasn't
even gotten close.
Not nowhere. And then he can come back to the California area, which, it's kind of tough to get free agents to come out there because of the taxes and
But he's been in California, so like he knows it because he was in LA.
That's what I'm saying. So hey, it's a possibility. More than likely he'll go back to the Bears. They got the money.
They do. So yeah, we'll kind of see how that plays out. And I got another question that I thought was really, really good on Patreon from KAD. And I wanted to have this conversation, not to get into the comparison contrast, but I just thought it was interesting. He says, during draft time and the combine, you keep hearing pocket presence, pocket presence, pocket presence. And so he wanted to get our opinion on what does pocket presence mean? It's a 2-part question, but let's start there. I'll tee this one up for Wayne. What is kind of your breakdown of what pocket presence is and why is it so important?
I mean, there's a difference between pocket presence and pocket awareness.
Ooh.
And so when you're looking at quarterbacks with these pocket presences, like the good ones, like you're talking about, like, I'm trying to think of ones of now. Everyone is a scrambler, but everyone moves. But I like Patrick Mahomes' pocket presence is pretty good. Josh Allen's pocket presence, I think, is a little bit better than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is better outside the pocket. Like, once he gets outside the pocket, it's a completed pass. Like, don't even you can't defend it, but that's just the gift that he has. But pocket presence is simply, the ones that can maneuver, stay in that pocket, step up in the pocket, be able to get through their reads, like, before getting sacked. Right? Like, basically that's what it is. And I mean, it takes a lot for pocket presence to work, though. So it takes a lot of pieces to be moving. Like, your offensive line has to be decent enough to give your quarterback time to step up, to step to the side, to step to the left. One of the best pocket presence quarterbacks to me, and even if you say that Joe Montana was the greatest quarterback of all time, I still feel Tom Brady in the pocket was the best to ever. Like, he could step up, he could slide to the right, he could slide to the left. You miss him, and it's a completed pass. And so, like, that's pocket presence. I'm sure John could go a little bit more in depth with it, but to me, that's pocket presence to a T. Pocket awareness is a little bit different. It's when you start to feel that pressure coming around you. Can you escape the pressure? Can you maneuver yourself to not get hit, not take the hit? And so that's pocket awareness. But the presence is important. Being able to have that vision.
I'm with you. I put Tom Brady at the top of the list as well, because now, again, once pressure comes, what do? What's Tom Brady do? He just throws the ball away every time. That's why he never gets hurt. He never elongates plays. He never scrambles, really. He's not creating explosives. That's not who Tom Brady ever is. He's Tony Gwynn. He's single. Like, we are not going to ground into a double play. We're not going to have a turnover. Now you got guys like Aaron Rodgers who have good pocket awareness, but once pressure comes, what's he do? He's going to roll out, not scramble, to throw the ball downfield whenever your DB has been guarding your guy for 4.5 seconds, right? So there's different ways about it. That's the awareness that he's talking about. Now, if we turn this conversation to the Niners quarterbacks, Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, I don't think either one of them have demonstrated good pocket awareness or presence yet. They both have problems. Trey, 1-2 reads, escapes straight up the middle. Brock Purdy, 1-2 reads, runs to his left every single time.
With a 360 spin, perhaps a 720. Yeah. But they're new.
They're very new. We're comparing these guys to absolute studs. And, you look at, Patrick Mahomes, who is absolutely uncanny. It's not fair to compare anybody to him.
I know, bro. But his pocket presence is all right. But my gosh, his awareness is on 100,000 levels. Like, it's
with that grandpa scoot.
Yo, it's ridiculous. And I think he aids and abets it too, right? Like, he knows what he's doing. I was watching, like, they did his simulcast with the 40. He's slow as stuff.
Yeah,
he's slow as stuffed turkeys. He's slow as a lineman. Some of these linemen. But the funny thing is, that doesn't matter in football. It doesn't. It's about how he's able to escape that pocket, and he's way more accurate outside the pocket. That's what makes him great and what makes him dangerous. That's it right there.
And so those things are there. And right here, Greg, is, reactionary quickness is what Purdy has in the pocket.
Agreed.
That's one of the things that he's great at. You saw the scramble touchdown. I think it was against the Dolphins. That was awesome. Like, he's short burst fun. And so we'll see those things.
And Trey is more of the developed, let me get the ball down the field type of pocket awareness. So, like, if it's the 2 reads that John is talking about. So if he sees his guy has a route and his guy is beating that defender and that safety's nowhere near in that play, Trey's throwing the ball down the field, and that's where it's going. And that's what gives you the upside with Trey. Now the question is, can he correct the short stuff? Can he fix that? Can he be more, aware and more present in the short game? Because that's part of the 49ers culture. It's part of the 49ers way. That's why we have guys like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. Like, that's why we have these players. Just give them the damn ball. Get them the ball. Let them do the job. Work.
Yep. I like that. Another question. I thought this was interesting. Yesterday, we did a fun experiment on here, Wayne, where what would it cost to trade up into the draft using next year's picks and this
Jesus.
year's? It was fun. I got a couple emails on 2 separate players asking, what would we get for these players? Okay. Not saying I want to trade them, whatever. This comes from David R.
Don't say a name that I've said before in the past because I don't want you to get dragged.
It's okay. Well, let's play this out and let's have this conversation. And I'll be devil's advocate, okay? So, Wayne, you're the 49ers GM. I represent some AFC team. I call you and I say, Wayne, I need a running back. I'm interested in Elijah Mitchell. What do you want for Elijah Mitchell?
What do I want?
Yeah. Well, let's make a realistic option.
Okay. So give me a second round pick for Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, come on. That's not realistic. This kid ain't played, right? Again, this is not John Chapman talking.
He played his whole
general manager for.
He played his whole rookie year. He almost rushed for 1,000 yards, right? And so last year he dealt with some injuries. You're gonna get a good kid on a young, cheap contract.
Now I hear what you're saying, and I know you really like this guy, but I'm sitting here saying you drafted this kid in the 6th round. 6th round. And he's only started 11 games in 2 years.
Which means he has a lot of less wear and tear on his belt.
Tears my problem. You brought it up, man.
It's less wear and tear, though. Everybody's got wear and tear. I mean, hey, I tell you what would you counter?
I would put it at a 4th, and no way I'm going higher. Like, it's 4th, take it or leave it.
What if we did a 4th with the possibility of moving up to a 3rd?
Nope. 4th, yay or nay. I got other people to call, Wayne. I'm a busy man. 4th round pick for Juwan Jennings. You're high on JP Morgan anyway.
You said Juwan Jennings or Elijah Mitchell?
Oh, sorry. We're going him next. Elijah Mitchell. Again, not my opinion on this. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate to demonstrate what these conversations will be like.
Oh, they're going to be tough, man. I tell you what, I'll take the 4th. I'll take.
You would take it. You would trade him for a 4th.
Man. It's a flip. It's a flip, and you go and get another running back.
Yeah, you're high on running backs in this draft.
Yes.
And you could continue the theme of Niners drafting 3rd round running backs. It's just one of those things that never dies. Question, I'll throw this up in the chat. Would you be willing to trade a 4th round pick for Elijah Mitchell? 49ers do not have a 4th round pick this year.
Correct.
Now, let's make it harder. This is not my question. This comes from David R. Direct all hate towards David R. You know where to find him. Nobody does. That's okay. And that's why I don't use the full names. Juwan Jennings. Okay. I call you. AFC team, not on your schedule. I like this Juwan Jennings guy. You like him. That's great. But you got Danny Gray. You got Ray. Lots of options there. We could really use this guy. Let's shorten it. I'm going to give you a 3rd round pick for Juwan.
He's yours.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
3rd and Juwan, you're going to move off?
I will move off 3rd and Juwan. 3rd round pick for a 7th round guy that barely sees 300 snaps or something.
That was easier than I thought.
Well, this is it. And here's the thing for Juwan is great because he's going to go to a team. Now he could become possibly a number 1 or a number 2. Right?
He's going to get. I made it too easy.
You made it too easy. Had you said a 5th round pick or possibly that 4th round pick, which I probably still would have moved him. Because look, there's depth charts, and he's playing for $900,000 this year, so a team's gonna get off on that. But at the end of the day, you could draft another guy. Guys, we have 10 picks. I know a lot of people feel like we're not gonna use all 10. We're probably gonna use all 10 picks, like literally.
Didn't trade one last year.
Just because it's cheap, it won't hit us against the cap. We get the rookie money, and it won't be expensive rookie money because they are 3rd to 7th round picks, right? And so you look at it like that. There's a possibility they draft all 10. That doesn't mean all 10 will make the squad. I'm just saying.
Now, I want to stick with this conversation of I want to keep Juwan Jennings, but for a 3rd round pick, I'm erring on the side of Wayne. What are your thoughts? And I've heard you talk about him on your show.
Here we go.
Nathaniel Tank Dell out of Houston. You're high on this kid, right?
I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out what in the hell don't y'all see? I must be doing a bad job in scouting. This kid, All right.
I'm not against him. I'm not. I'm just.
He's tiny. He's what, 5'8"? Like, look, he's 5'11", I think. 5'11", right?
He is 5'10", 165.
Yeah, he's a tiny kid that can run the route tree that plays
Tiny.
big. Let me ask you this, and here's my comp.
I'm writing this down. I'm gonna steal it. Go ahead.
Antonio Brown ceiling.
Oh, that's crazy, bro.
It's not.
Antonio Brown was huge.
How tall was Antonio Brown?
Let's see here.
I don't even care about size. I'm talking about as far as playmaking. Guy that can get open.
5'10", 186. So he is 21 pounds heavier.
This kid will get bigger. He'll get bigger.
That's what Brown was when he came into the draft, though.
I tell you what, though, at the Senior Bowl, they couldn't stop this kid. And that's an all-star game, right? And we want some of those other seniors from the Senior Bowl, right? And we're scouting those DBs too, right?
Here's my biggest question, and I don't know if you know this answer, and it's okay if you don't, and I apologize if you don't. How is he run blocking at that size? Because 49ers used Juwan Jennings as a big slot, big tight end. I call him, wide receiver plus because he's blocking. Can this dude come in at 5'10", 165 and block those backers and defensive ends?
I mean, that's probably going to be his downside, but do you have to utilize him as a blocking guy as early? I mean, he can build that body up. He's gonna gain weight. He's gonna get bigger. He's gonna get stronger. He can get open, John. Like, if he can get open in the slot, that's the only shit. That's the only thing that should matter. I'm talking about a kid that can take a 5-yard pass and make it 55 yards, or a kid that can actually run a route down the field. He doesn't have blazing Danny Gray speed. The difference between him and Gray is speed, and the other difference is the size, and the other difference is the fact that Danny Gray can't run the route tree yet. And so, like, here, I'm telling you, you're getting a guy that can run that route tree, that can create separation off of bigger DBs, okay, and can get
Would you take him in the third round with one of our 3 third-round picks?
Without a mother freaking doubt.
Okay, so my question is this. Now let's change the paradigm a little bit and say, okay, we're not trading Juwan Jennings.
Okay.
We've got Ayuk, we've got Debo, we've got Jennings, we've got Ray, we've got Danny Gray. Now you're going to be keeping him too. We usually only keep 5. We're going to be keeping 6 guys now.
Talk about wide receivers?
Yeah. Did I even count Ray?
But it changes every year. Like, so the position changes on how many we keep. So there was a year we had plenty of wide receivers on this team, like 7, if I'm not mistaken. And so now that kind of lessened up because the talent produced, like Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and then we brought in some guys. He's kind of like the size. What is Ray's size? 186. Is he even 6 feet? It's kind of like that guy with way better hands than Ray.
Ray is 5'9", 190.
So
half an inch shorter, 5'9.5", 190.
And Tank Dell is
25 pounds. That's a lot, bro.
He's got to be heavier than 160. Hold on, let me look at
165 is what he came in the combine.
Let me. Oh, okay, all right. I'm not even gonna look at my.
Now sheet. I will say this: players usually lose weight for the combine, but all those measurements I've given you from Ray, from Antonio, those are all combine weights.
Thank you, John. At least your consistency is there. I like that.
I like Dell. I just don't know about the blocking. And so, right, why was Ayuk in the quote-unquote doghouse? That's the thing. Like, from a passing perspective, I'm with you 100%. He's fun as hell. My comp was Mooney. What's his name?
Darnell Mooney from Chicago?
Darnell Mooney. That's my comp for him so far. And shout out to Josh. He did a lot of work on him, too. And Josh, he's going to say this. He says he can't block. Tape says it. Mm-hmm. Josh coming in swinging, man. He stands on his guys. I like this guy. I have him going in the 2nd to 4th round. That seems to be he's in that range, right?
Correct.
This is fun. This is fun. I like these.
I want to do more stuff like this, John, because this is fun right now. Will he be a 49er? It's tough. It's tough because why would they draft a wide receiver in the 3rd round? But if this kid is sitting there at 99. Debo's contract is expiring in next year, 2 years?
No, Debo's got 2 more years. It was an extension on top.
So it's this year, right? Plus next year.
I'm pulling it up now. Here we go. We have him signed. We have an option for 2025. So he is under contract 23,
in
24.
2024.
Then we have an option on 25.
Perfect. And so now, when does Ray contract expire?
Ray, I think, did a 2-year deal, I
So
believe.
this could
This
be
may be
that type of a replacement for one of these receivers, because you want him, you want Brandon Ayuk to sign, and so if you want,
this is Ray's last year.
see what I'm saying?
It's
And
2-year deal.
so now, so it's Ray's last year. You bring in this kid, he'll get on the field more than what we saw from Danny Gray, just because of his ability to create separation. We haven't seen that. We've been asking for a receiver that can create separation for the longest. Here you got a guy, his issue is blocking. I'm sure he'll figure that out. Like, I'm sure it'll get figured out. It has to. Shit. Sorry. Danny Gray's learned how to block.
Yeah.
He blocked for and that's why he wasn't on the field. And Kyle doesn't necessarily play these rookies year one anyway.
I love it.
And he's not a first or second round pick. So you're going to get first or second round talent, maybe second to third round talent in the third round. 99, he's staring you there in the face. I don't know if you should pass up on them 49ers. You got 2 other picks literally back to back where you
3 out of 4. Yeah. Now, okay, let's play this. You say you want to play this game a little more. I want you to give me one more guy that you're really, really big on, and I'll play some devil's advocate. I don't even know what player you're going to bring up. It could be anybody. It could be a 3rd round target, 5th round target, trade up target. Don't care.
So,
somebody you're in on, because you've been around these guys. You were at the Senior Bowl. You know what we don't know.
Yeah. So first of all, Kyle, John, Adam, they go really high off of Senior Bowl tape. They don't watch all the college film. Okay, they'll go back, but they really go high off of Senior Bowl tape. And if I'm looking at this 3rd round and I'm trying to say, like, who possibly is going to be available and what type of positions that they need to address, I mean, there's about 4 or 5 of them, right? And so I don't feel like there's going to be any centers that I would draft in the 3rd round. So we can scratch that off. I mean,
I keep going back to this idea too. I'm not so sure I want a rookie center with my 2 young quarterbacks.
Well, John, if it was like the best center and then we had a 1st round pick, that's a little different. If we were getting a guy like Creed Humphrey, right? Which there's no guy like Creed Humphrey in this draft. Therefore, you don't
John Mitchell, what's his name? That dude, John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota.
Yeah,
I love him, but no chance you can get him.
But he's still not the Creed Humphrey. But he's probably the best center in the draft. But we won't be able to get him. No. And so, like, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, like, what's going to be there, man? We could go edge. Do we draft edge in the 3rd round?
Probably. One of those picks will be edge.
Right. But so it depends who's going to be in the 99 pick. But I like Blake Freeland, and I know he didn't have the best Senior Bowl.
Best combine. Good God.
But he had the best combine, so he tested really well. Now, will he be able to play well on Sunday? Well, it depends on how you necessarily utilize him. What are his weaknesses? Power. What was Mike McGlinchey's weakness? Power. Plays too high. I feel like this kid, though, has the ability to learn because he's way more athletic than Mike McGlinchey. Like, way more athletic. He's more athletic than Trent Williams.
He's up. It's one of the fastest 10-yard splits ever for a lineman.
Dude,
like,
wasn't it like
ever? Like, it was the fastest this year for any, but a lineman. It's one of the fastest 10-yard splits ever. Like, this dude is quick.
So 168 was his 10-yard split. All right. And so look, if he's available, I think you go ahead and get a tackle, and you groom him and you get him stronger. He'll come in and compete right away. It's a possibility. 3rd round, he can be starting opposite Trent. It all depends on if he beats out like a Colton McKivitz. He's clearly better than what's his name, Jalen Moore, right? Like, so this is a kid that I would bring in. I got my eyes set on him. I know a lot of people like Wanye Morris out there, but if there's a guy that I think might be available, he may have tested into the 2nd round.
Yeah, he's high.
Shit.
Shoot. I had 3rd to 4th round before the combine, but it was unreal. And so I started doing background stuff. Shout out to Josh and Brian for helping with this. Again, when you're talking Niners guys, this dude's an honor roll guy. Won all these kind of awards. 2-time team captain for basketball, all-state in basketball. Are you kidding me? Like, this dude threw the javelin, discus, shot put. He holds the 6A state championship for the javelin. Like, this dude, you look at like the character reference build around prospects. This is like gold helmet type guy character, And again, I don't know the medicals. I don't know all that stuff. I'm not in those rooms, but I'm just saying, Wayne and I have been doing this a long time with the Niners. And we're getting pretty damn good at figuring out these Niner type guys. So when Wayne brings somebody up, and I agree,
like, real talk, thank
you.
Up? I said I owe it all to you because you brought me into this room. You've explained the draft. You've explained this. You've explained that. Just over the several years we've been together, and so I just, me being out there physically watching the stuff, I look at it from a different perspective. And then I get introduced to guys like Johnny Dell. And now I'm seeing it from a whole X's and O's perspective. And I'm like, Johnny, go by. It's too much. It's too much, Johnny. But no, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. But there are a lot of guys out there, guys. There's so much talent that the 49ers can bring in. If this kid was there, Blake Freeland was there, because I want Cody Mauch. There's no way we're going to get him. So we kiss that goodbye. Like,
he was the target in my trade up situation. I think I offered a second rounder next year and our number 99 pick to jump up to, I think it was like pick 52.
Yes.
And he was there and you could get him there.
Okay.
And so then the question, and I'll turn this in the show today. And this has been fun, Wayne. It has been very good. I love this, man.
I love it.
Here's my question to you. Would you rather get Blake Freeland, the offensive tackle out of BYU, who we just talked about, at 99, or would you rather trade 99 and a second round pick to get Cody Mauch, second round pick for next year?
I want Cody Mauch. He could play all 5 motherfucking positions, bro. Yeah, man. He could play center. He could play tackles. He could play guards. He doesn't have 2 front teeth. He doesn't care about that. He's just a gritty player. He'll
be a fan favorite day one.
Fan favorite day one. Just the amount of press that will be there. I mean, it would be great. He speaks well. Oh, by the way, met his family. They're phenomenal. Like, oh my gosh, they're just amazing people. Like, Cody Mauch to me is a 49er, but unfortunately, unless we trade up, he won't be a 49er.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And just again, whatever, like, it's our goal in these conversations isn't for you to fall in love with Freeland, isn't to fall in love with Mauch, isn't to fall in love with Tank Dell. It's not what it is. It's to go through the process of what type of players are 49ers players. These are the type of questions you have to ask. So I see in the chat, like, man, I really want this guy. I want Byron Young from Tennessee, the edge rusher, all those guys. You need to look in and see. Were they multiple sport players? Were they honor roll guys? How do they fit? All those things. And you talked about, Mauch again. Guess what? Mountain Valley Conference, honor roll, javelin thrower. He was another javelin thrower. Hey, where are all these javelin throwers coming from, man? Like, all-state basketball player.
As a tight end and ended up playing left tackle, bro. So he gained mass and just was strong. So he has hands, guys. Yeah. Just to put that out there, he can catch.
I love it. This has been fun, Wayne. Walk us through a little bit of your schedule that you got this week. I know you're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. Where can we catch your show? It's the first thing in the description of this video to go subscribe to his channel, whether you're listening, watching, downloading, whatever, on this 801 episode of the 49ers podcast.
Can we give John a round of applause? 801. Do y'all know how much
we've been going, baby?
Time?
We've been going.
Energy? And for y'all that don't know, John preps stuff behind the scenes, doesn't share the shit with me, so I have no idea what we're talking about.
It's more real that way.
I understand, but you be having these scenarios like, Wayne, define, gravity, and I'd be like, oh shit, what is gravity? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I know what gravity is, but you get what I'm saying? He'll come up here with some crazy stuff, but nah, man, guys, the Wayne Breezy, right here on YouTube, man. Make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe. We're almost at 2,500. John, I'm going to do a big giveaway at 3K. I'm going to be giving away something signed and autographed. So that's going to be really cool. But guys, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to me over there at the Wayne Breezy on YouTube and all the other social medias. Either Wayne Breezy or the Wayne Breezy. I love it. All right. That's going to do it for us today. Do want to say thank you to our executive producers, Philip Kingsley, Kilted Niner, 49ers George 365. Man, this has been fun. And until next time, stay strong, faithful.